Guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm doing really good. It's kind of a dreary, rainy day, but I feel like things are starting to look bright when it comes to things I've been dealing with in life. But today we are going to talk about 5 subtle signs your environment is blocking your healing journey. This is a lesson that I had to work through this past couple of months, and trust me, it's worth it. So if you're new here, I'm Joy. This is my channel where we talk about healing, self-worth, relationships, womanhood, fashion, all of that. Basically all the things we're usually overthinking at 2 a.m. So today's video is going to be one of those girl chats, FaceTime with your friend conversations, because this is something I've been thinking about a lot lately and experiencing. And that's the idea that the reason you feel stuck emotionally, it isn't you. Sometimes it's your environment. And that's a conversation people don't talk about enough, because we live in a culture where everyone says things like, just heal, just move on, just grow. But nobody really talks about the fact that healing is extremely difficult when you're still surrounded by the same environment that hurt you in the first place. You cannot bloom in the same soil that broke you. And sometimes we stay in certain environments, homes, friendships, family dynamics, sometimes even cities. We stay there because it's familiar and because they're comfortable. But comfort and peace are not the same thing. So today we're talking about 5 subtle signs that your current environment might actually be blocking your emotional healing journey. And some of these signs are very quiet, very subtle, easy to normalize. But once you notice them, you can't unsee them. So after this quick intro, we're gonna get Hey, what's up, you guys? Welcome to Joy Serendipity. If you're new here, definitely subscribe. You won't regret it. So we're gonna jump right into sign number 1, and that is you feel like you have to perform an old version of yourself. And this is a big one. Let me first ask you guys this. Have you ever noticed that certain environments expect you to stay the same person that you used to be? Like the moment you try to grow and evolve, or sometimes even set boundaries, people get uncomfortable, and suddenly you're hearing things like, you've changed, why are you acting so different? Or you have people that are like, you used to be so chill and so cool, you're being very dramatic. But what they really mean is that you're no longer playing the role I was comfortable with. And sometimes environments lock us into old identities. Maybe you were the people pleaser. Maybe you were the strong one. Maybe you were the quiet one. The funny one who never takes anything seriously. And when you start healing, you start questioning those roles that you didn't even give yourself, right? You start saying things like, no, actually, that did hurt my feelings, or I'm not okay with that anymore. And suddenly, the environment pushes back, not because you're wrong, but because the growth disrupts the emotional system people were used to. Healing requires authenticity, and if you constantly feel like you are acting instead of just being your true, genuine self, that's a sign that your environment might not be safe for you to grow, okay? And it's time for you to change locations or people. Sign number 2, I would say, is you feel drained instead of rested in your own space. So let's talk about energy for a second. Your environment should feel like a place where your nervous system can exhale. But sometimes you walk into certain spaces and your body immediately goes into tension mode and you can't relax. You feel hyper aware, what's going on around me, or you're emotionally guarded, or sometimes even mentally exhausted. A lot of the times that happens around the holidays. You can't fully relax. And the thing is, your body notices things before your mind does. If you constantly feel drained, in the place you were supposed to feel safe, your nervous system is trying to tell you something. Sometimes environments carry emotional residue, like memories, conflict, judgment, unspoken tension. The list could go on. And even if nobody says anything out loud, your body remembers the history of the space. Healing requires environments where your nervous system can feel calm and supported. If every day feels like emotional survival, healing becomes 10 times harder than what it should be. Which leads me into sign number 3, and that is people around you dismiss or minimize your healing. And this one was one that stuck with me. And it's extremely subtle. It took me going to therapy and talking out my thoughts and my inner dialogue to my therapist for me to realize this. Sometimes people are not outright mean, they just don't take your healing seriously. You started therapy and journaling and setting boundaries and working on yourself, and the responses sound like, oh, well, you're overthinking and you're too sensitive now, and just this is how I am, so just get over it. You may start questioning yourself during your healing journey, am I being dramatic? The answer is no. The truth is, people who are uncomfortable with emotional growth will often try to shrink your healing so you don't have to confront their own stuff. Your healing forces people to examine things they might not be ready to look at. So instead of growing with you, they try to pull you back into the emotional familiarity. A supportive environment doesn't have to fully understand your healing journey, but they should at least, bare minimum, respect it. If people around you constantly minimize your growth, that's not neutral energy at all. In a way, you can say that's them resisting your growth, and those are not people you want to keep around you moving forward on your journey. So another one that stuck with me is sign number 4, and that is you keep reopening the same emotional wounds. And this one is huge. Healing requires distance from certain emotional triggers. And if you stay in the same environment that created those wounds, you can end up reopening them again. And I feel like that's what was happening to me in my environment last year. I would constantly with the people around, I would constantly push down how I was feeling because they didn't feel comfortable with my any emotion other than joy, because joy is my name. But if you're hurting me, I should be able to express the emotions that you're making me feel, right? If you stay in the environment that created those wounds, they'll reopen again and again and again and again. It's like you're trying to heal a cut while someone is continuously poking the cut. You know what happens when you continuously mess with a scab or something? It's going to take longer to heal. Certain environments keep us stuck in cycles like old arguments. I had that with someone I was seeing, and it was constant old arguments because they didn't want to change their terrible patterns/habits. Family dynamics can keep you stuck in cycles, unresolved trauma, constant emotional reminders of the past. And the problem is that I would say it's not that you're not healing, it's you're healing, but you're actively being triggered because you stayed in that same environment that broke you and which you're trying to heal from. Growth requires space, and you need quietness to reflect. And a lot of the times you need to distance yourself in order to transform into who you're trying to be, the healed person. Sometimes the most powerful step in healing isn't therapy, journaling, or self-help books, because those are helpful, but sometimes it's simply changing your environment. I have had friends who have moved across the country, and I just see them thriving because they're not being, I can't think of the word, constantly having opinions of their family, tearing down their dreams and stuff, oh, you shouldn't do this, pick something else, blah blah, whatever. Healing in the wrong environment is like trying to grow flowers in concrete. Please find your environment. I would say the last sign, though, at least for me, is deep down you've known you've outgrown that environment. This is the quietest sign, but it's also the most powerful out of these. Sometimes there isn't one dramatic reason you need to leave an environment. There's not a huge fight, and it's not necessarily toxic. Just a quiet feeling inside that says, I don't belong here anymore. Those very words came out of my mouth a couple of weeks ago. And that feeling could be scary because outgrowing environments means entering the unknown. Hi, hello. That's where I am right now. Like new spaces, new people, new energy. And I love the people I've been meeting on this journey. But growth often feels like discomfort before it feels like freedom. And sitting in this discomfort it's been very eye-opening. A lot of people stay in environments though that they've outgrown because they confuse familiarity with safety. Your soul knows when it's time for you to move. Okay, you hear me? It knows when it's time to let go of that friendship or relationship, that job, the family members. And sometimes healing requires saying, this space was a part of my story, but it's not a part of my next chapter. So all in all, what I want to tell you guys is if you're watching this and realizing that your environment might be slowing down your healing or your success, I want you to know something. That does not make you weak. It doesn't mean you're not trying hard enough. Environments shape our emotional lives more than we realize. Who we're around, where we live, jobs we work, friendships we have, family we keep in our circle. All of that matters, and sometimes healing isn't just about fixing yourself. Sometimes it's about removing yourself from spaces that were never meant for your evolution. You deserve environments that allow you to grow and feel safe and be the person that you're meant to be your authentic self. That journey might feel lonely at times, but trust me, there is an entire version of your life waiting on the other side of environments that no longer fit. So if this video resonated with you, let's talk in the comments and let me know what was a sign that you knew you were ready to move from your environment. And if you enjoy these deep girl conversations, chats, make sure you subscribe because we talk about everything here. Also, be sure to check out my blog. I'm always on there and I write about topics like this and more. And remember, your healing journey deserves the right environment to grow. I'll see you guys in the next video.